Hi, this is the Mito podcast. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Megan.
And today we have a guest. Her name is Mina. Hi, Mina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys? Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on the podcast with us. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Mina, where are you from? Like what part of the world are you from?
I'm from California. I was born and raised here. I don't know if anyone of you guys heard of Diamond Bar. It's like Southern California. An hour by Los Angeles, an hour by the beach, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we're in San Diego, so
Oh, that's not too far.
yeah, not too far, but I haven't heard of that, so I'm gonna have to look it up on the map.
Okay.
So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us kind of how your Mito story began. About how old were you when you first got diagnosed?
I think I was in my 20s. I would say like my early 20s, and it all started with having a headache. Oh, I was studying. So I was studying for like a big um bridge program for medical school and all that. And then I thought it was stress, but I guess like it wasn't. So it started with headaches, and then with headaches, it's I started acting weird because this time I was living with my boyfriend, and meaning I wasn't talking as much because I'm very talkative. I'm very like outgoing, and it was more like out there, like not, kind of like quiet and not spoken. And whenever and slowly, and at a little at a time, started with headaches. Then I was, I was kind of out of it. Then slowly, I started. When he would talk to me, my response back wouldn't make sense. Sometimes, like, whatever I would want to say in my brain would come out differently or come out, my speech was off. So I kept saying, it's stress, don't worry about it. I'm okay. Like, just leave me alone. I'm tired, like, but so, and then, it's a couple of weeks, and then, I think him and his sister decided to take me to emergency room because like, I've been like, no, I'm okay, like I'm fine and everything. And then and as soon as they go to the hospital or emergency room or whatever, like, I think within hours I started getting seizures, and I was like, oh no. And then they were scared too. Everyone was scared. And I was at I was studying in New York, far away from home. So I was like by myself, like, doing this, and it was shocking for, my boyfriend. And long story short, my parents had to come and visit me. I was in the hospital for like a good approximately 2 weeks because of like so many testing, like vital tap to like blood cultures to blood testing to like, MRIs to contrast and all that. So to figure out what's this girl, she's smart, she's young, she has everything going for herself, but why is she having these seizures? Why is she acting like this and all that? So the seizures continue to have small seizures to a little cluster seizures. So um then it kind of stopped, and then slowly got better, back to my feet. But like it was a process because the first thing I had to remember things. And then because it was a stroke, like I guess the whole thing was like a stroke like episode, right? So with accommodating the seizures and all this weird stuff like headaches and like slurred speech and like all that stuff. So I was at hospital approximately for 2 weeks, just all the testing and resting and recovering. And the first recovering was like walking, speaking, because you have to get back to your feet. It kind of like when you have a stroke episode, everything like just messes up your brain to like your motor skills and your cognitive skills, and it really sucks. So I had to, get back to walking and all that, and just remembering things and going back to my speech. So long story short, I came back home to California. I started speech therapy. um I I couldn't drive for 6 months. I was so out of it. I couldn't go back to I couldn't go to school. I quit that school. So, it was like resting and kind of get back to myself. And then yeah, so finally he found a doctor because okay, backtrack. So this happened in Newark in the mid 20s when I had this, right? So when I came back home, we're still trying to figure out what's the diagnosis, why did she get sick, all these questions, all these answers, right? So finally found this doctor in UCLA. It's in Los Angeles. My doctor's Dr. Saver, and he's the one who found out through numerous testing and I don't then he kind of said like, "Oh, your blood testing or cultures or whatever shows that you have a mutation that really leads to a mitochondrial syndrome, which is specifically MELAS." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" Well, I didn't know. I knew what it was because I'm a bio major, so I knew it was something mitochondria, but I didn't know like exactly what it was. So I was just really surprised because generally speaking, it's a hereditary disease, right? And then my mom doesn't have it, my brother doesn't have it. I'm the only one that has it. Um, so he diagnosed me, and then from there it came to like more speech therapy, more recovery, and all that. And then I finally got back to go to school, like just to like learn, just get back to myself. And then a couple years after I started having hearing loss. And it was kind of like all of a sudden, it was kind of when I was teaching actually, and then or well, I don't it wasn't actually teaching, but during that phase of when I was teaching students, good students in middle school. And so I noticed hearing loss and I got tested and they said, yeah, you really have hearing loss. Like you need hearing aids. And I was like, great. And then I it's part of the whole mitochondrial syndrome, MELAS that I do have. So that's really sad about it. And I had to get hearing aids. I'm like still young. I'm trying to figure out my career, start my career, and all of a sudden I get a hearing loss, and then I felt like that was a obstacle. I mean, it's hard because like I keep telling myself it's not like I'm just like everybody else. I wear my hearing aids, I can do everything fine, but it's not because people like make fun of it, judge you, and you miss things. Like not everything's perfect with hearing, even okay, even with school, like sometimes I have to ask for captioning or a captioner and all that. And I'm part of the disabled student services now because of like of everything that the needs that I need, especially when it comes to hearing. And which comes as like extra timing on testing and captioning, like I mentioned with the captioner, and sometimes even Zoom caption, which is so hard to get, right? But it happens sometimes. But okay, and then uh those are the little obstacles I found. And then there's more obstacles like with like I noticed in work, and I'm going off topic, or you still want to hear this?
Totally
Okay.
fine. I think
Yeah,
it's
so with work, it's like, it's hard because when you work with a team or when you work with, your colleagues, they know or they notice. And I feel like they judge you and they treat you a little bit differently. And it sucks because they try not to, but it's just there, and then even with like doing errands and talking sometimes like I have to repeat things over and over because sometimes I don't wear my hearing aids and sometimes I do because I feel like if I'm just going to go to Target or buy Starbucks, why do I really need my hearing aid? But like, so I just kind of have to say, hey, can you say it louder or can you say it again? Or I mean, sometimes I get annoyed or whatever, but and so those are the obstacles I feel like dealing during daily routines or errands or whatever. And then during work, because people notice it, they judge you. And during school, you have to get these extra stuff. And then when it comes to dating, oh my God, I'm still single. And I'm like in my 30s now. So, and everyone's like, you're 30s and you're single. I was like, well, I mean, a big chunk of it, I think, is because of the hearing loss. And telling people I can't have kids, or if I have kids, they might have it, you know, and then people like get shocked because like maybe they want to have kids, or maybe like, you know, they don't like the whole hearing loss thing. They're like they kind of they feel like it's like just I can't really explain it.
It's something that people are not used to. It's something that isn't widely understood by a general public. And a lot of times people are scared of things that they don't understand. And that's not a good thing because I mean, I know that we're just meeting, but you sound like such a fun person. And it bums me out that that has become such an obstacle for you. And unfortunately, with MELAS, that's kind of how it goes. Like you could not have any symptoms one day, and then gradually, as you get older, things start to change.
Oh yeah, forgot to mention the fatigue and the all the supplements I have to eat. I have to add to my daily diet, and you know, talking to numerous doctors and finally gonna write the diagnosis. And um, I, I am part of the UMDF, United Mitochondrial Disease Foundation, and I've just started to be an ambassador because I really want to spread my word. That's how I found you guys to like share my story. And yeah, so do you have any questions for me? I feel like I just was like I threw out so much information in front of you guys.
No, that's good. That's what we want, your story. So just what are some of the supplements? Because I have a 12-year-old son that's about to be 13 that has Mito. And so of course we're very familiar with the supplements, but what are some of the supplements that you actually take?
You know what? I've done my own research because I'm a bio major and a scientist as well. So I've done my own research, and unfortunately, like that's how it is. But some doctors will say like the basics, like oh, coenzyme Q10, um, L-arginine, and but I still add a little bit more to it. You know, like more vitamin C, more lipoic acid and some other stuff. And I'm looking to get more supplements in the future, but I really want to get the right supplements that really fits for me, you know, so which is hard because, you know, with school and everything I'm handling, I'm trying to like talk to the right doctor that tells me you should take this for you because everyone has different mitochondrial symptoms. I heard, meaning like there's some severe, mild to medium to whatever. So, and it's hard to find the exact needs, you know. So I'm just like bugging doctors everywhere, like trying to find it. Still to this day, find the you know the right doctor that really is the best for me. And unfortunately, I haven't found the right one. But have found good doctors, the one that diagnosed me, and some local ones. But there's still a lot of answers. You know, and so many questions and nothing. You know, and sometimes like um, so I'm still doing research to find the best doctor for me. Yeah.
And also just figuring out dosages too, because you might have all of the supplements that doctors suggest, but you need to figure out, like you said, figuring out which ones work the best for your body and also figuring out what dose you need of each supplement to get any of the benefits from it. And I think that that can be very frustrating for a lot of people because there's no right or wrong with the supplements that we have.
Exactly.
Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And sometimes we just have it wrong.
Oh no. Or overdose. I don't want to take like 100 vitamins and like you know that's actually not good for you to overdose in vitamins, but like
No, it's not. So figuring that out is difficult, but you still have to do it. You still need to figure out what your sweet spot is with all of these different things. And until we can get more research and more doctors and more scientists to be able to do the research for it, unfortunately, it's just one of those things that we each have to do our own trial for.
Yeah, it goes with dieting too, right? I feel like, oh, I'm not like the best. I have a lot of cheat days and good days, but you have to like have more greens, like a lot of kale, spinach, and a lot of stay away from grains, I heard, and like
And
intermittent fasting and certain exercises. It's a lot. Like I'm like, really, like, do you have time?
yeah,
Yeah. So with all this fatigue I feel and no energy, and if everything I have to go through with work or school or even
yeah.
dating, it's hard to juggle everything and just be healthy, like semi-healthy and feel good every day. Like,
Yeah, it is. And when you're talking about different diets, a lot of those things are what you're trying to get your body to be able to do without expending enough or not without expending a lot of energy. So when you're eating those grains,
higher energy.
yeah, your fiber is up. It's making your digestive system work a little bit better so that the rest of your body doesn't have to push so much to make you. We just did a podcast. We haven't released it yet about going number 2, but that's all part of it. And two, on the opposite side of that, of doing like the keto diet, that it doesn't work for everyone, but people who have seizures a lot of times
I
benefit
heard that.
type of diet. So yeah, it's figuring out your body, figuring
I
out.
kind of switch around. I don't even know what's right or right or what's the best for me. That's the hardest part. And I still haven't got us to nutritionist. I don't know if I should. And
You know what would be great one day is if we could have a Mito nutritionist, because
exactly, that's what I mean.
a regular nutritionist, they're great and they are able to teach you so much about different nutrients and foods that you should be eating, but they don't understand Mito. And so one issue that I came across when I was in the hospital with my daughter was they were trying to put her on a specific formula diet, and the nutritionists that were coming in didn't understand what Mito was. They didn't understand what her body needed. They were just talking like she was a neurotypical child who was just we were in the hospital for getting a G tube. And it was like, no, that doesn't work that way, especially since she was breastfed and she didn't take anything by mouth. And so they kept talking about all these foods that she should be eating. I'm like, okay, that's great, but
Yeah, and you have to really come to the deep of everything of what really mitochondria is and the person's needs, and then finally go from there. Which is the hardest part.
yeah, exactly. But that's also part, I think, for any person, even if you don't have a mitochondrial disease or dysfunction, is figuring that sweet spot out for yourself, and knowing what diet your body does well with. Because it's going to be different for everybody, regardless of the ailments that are working against you. But so I know you mentioned it, and you're going to school, but so what exactly are you going to school for?
I'm going to school for clinical lab science, which is like diagnostic testing. I feel like if I want to help be part of the healthcare, and I can't be one-on-one, unfortunately, because like that was kind of something I wanted, but it can't happen with my hearing and everything. And if I can just do some sort of diagnostic for people and help them in behind the scenes, and
That's
that's the
awesome.
best I can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much longer do you have in school?
I have another year or so, approximately. Not
That's
so well.
Oh, you're so close.
Yeah.
It's so exciting when you're down to that last year, but even better when you're down to like that last semester or quarter or whatever
Oh yeah. So
frame you're in. Oh, it's the best feeling. Well, do you have any advice for anybody that is listening? Anything that you want them to know or give a message?
you know what? My advice would just be like, stay positive and try not to make all these obstacles like bug you from being who you can be. And you know, if someone has MELAS or mitochondrial syndrome, they really have to do their own research and everything from dieting to finding the right doctor to finding the right medication. It's a lot. So find support. There's foundations out there. Again, I mentioned UMDF, which is United Mitochondrial Disease Foundation. They're awesome. They have sometimes meetings. Unfortunately, they don't have too many meetings on the West Coast, but they answer a lot of questions.
Yeah, they're trying really hard to expand in California.
It is.
They're based more East Coast, so they've been able to create this great enclave of that side of our nation, and they're trying really hard to get into California better. Megan and I became ambassadors for them last year too. So yeah, they're trying really hard, and they do a conference every year. Obviously, last year was canceled. This year, I don't know yet. Have we heard anything?
No, I don't think so, but I'm assuming it's probably going to be a virtual situation like last year.
Yeah. But there are, like you said, there are some great foundations out there. You just have to look for them, and it's hard. There's, I think, probably 4 main ones. So UMDF is one, Mito Research Fund here in San Diego. We have Mito Action, and then there's one in Australia that I'm blanking.
But I want someone like what I was actually like pretty happy to find you ladies to, talk about my story because you're San Diego, which is West Coast and more local, but like that's the most I know now besides UMDF, but they're like, it's all virtual and all that. So
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that right now I'm not taking anti-seizure medication because it's been quite a while for my last seizure. So it's been a while since I had one. So that's good.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you are listening, you are just listening to the Mito podcast. If you have any questions or suggestions for future podcasts, please email us at Mito. Oh, I almost gave the wrong email address. mitopodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook or on Instagram, and you can also find us on YouTube. So thank you again, Mina. Really appreciate you being on today.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing your story.
There's nothing. Thank you for having me. Bye.